Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is the Yankee and the Brit Thursday night football pregame show.
Yeah, very exciting as always. I mean, the Thursday night football this week might not be too exciting. I can't see much happening with it, but the pregame show is exciting. If you don't want to listen to the normal talking heads chatting their bullshit, saying, "Oh, this is going to be a close game," giving all the reasons why it's going to be a close game, we're not here for any of that shit. So if you want to just
It
keep
is going to
listening,
be a close game.
do you reckon?
I do, and if I am, I'll just say off the bat, I'm picking the Eagles, but I would pick the Texans in the point spread if I was gambling.
Wow, why is the point spread? Just to ask.
14.
14. I would never bet anybody to beat another team by 14. That's
I
the
love
that's the
double
issue.
digit point spreads. That's yeah.
Yeah, I would never stick the bet on the
And
Eagles to
by
beat them by
close,
14.
I mean under 14.
Right, okay, cool. That's not close. That's the Eagles play football that I don't know, like the
Don't
Eagles
most
play
people
football.
think the Eagles should win this game by 30?
I just think the way that the Eagles play football is that they get out in front of you and they never let you back in it. But that doesn't mean they're gonna like fucking hammer you by 14.
And
It just means
if the
the score might look close at the end, but it was
if
never that
the
close.
Eagles were ever to shit the bed, this is the game.
I don't
Well,
know. I'm quite
if they're ever
disenamored
going to
with the
shit the bed and
Texans.
lose to a team they shouldn't, this is the game. You don't take the Texans seriously. They're a team that can eat clock and run the ball. How many
Mhm.
teams did the 49ers play spoiler to with Colin Kaepernick before the run just because nobody took them seriously? They could run the ball and eat the clock. I'm not saying they're going to win, but if the Eagles are going to shit the bed, this is the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the Texans have the worst run defense in the world either. Um they've just kept the Titans to 17 points with their run game, and everybody's saying King Henry's back. And how many yards
219
did he rush
yards.
for? 219 yards, but only 17 points. That's
Right.
pretty well. They were playing Malik Willis, their rookie
Well,
QB. So
they could
yeah.
play both Tannehill and Malik Willis at the same time, and Hurts would still be better.
Yeah, 100%. And I just think like you just kind of sit there and you just go. I think it could be one of those games where the scorecard lies, where it's not close. Like the Cowboys Eagles game was kind of close, but really they just went right. It's getting close now. Let's take all the time off the clock. Let's win the game and let's get out of here. I feel like they on the scorecard it may look close, but really to everybody watching it won't be close at all.
Maddie's a closet Eagle fan, everybody. So don't.
Don't you even fucking dare. That's just
He
like I
wants to
hate
take
him.
back and go
It
to the
kills
Eagles.
me. It kills me. Like honestly, it kills me inside to see how good they are. But I'm an objective sports commentator, which is why people watch us, love us, and they like, subscribe, follow, and share this video while they're doing it.
So let's talk about that Dolphins Lions game last week.
Yeah, fucking crazy, right? I mean, oh yeah, for everybody on this show that hasn't watched before, we review the key games from the last week, as well as talking about the game that's about to come. But the Lions Dolphins game, it's just too offensive that are just crazy. Like they're two crazy offenses to watch, both for two totally different reasons. The Lions are tearing up the field with Jared Goff, which is
dead.
wild. Yeah, they're dead. They're 100% dead.
They proved it with the trade.
Yeah, exactly. When they gave away TJ Hawkinson, they're dead. Like they've realized they can't. Their defense hasn't clicked as much as many people thought it would do, which is awful for them. But I mean, how good do the Dolphins look? Is just why I want to part there. Their secondary was all like rookie free agents and stuff.
So Dan Campbell must be losing his fucking mind. Like, hey man, how you get rid of my best tight end, man? But he ain't gonna have a job next year, so that ain't gonna matter. And I just want to point out. So this is what the Dolphins got for the for the 3 first-round draft picks in the 49ers trade: Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as enamored about the Bradley Chubb deal as a lot of people are. I just want to put that out there. So when you put all three of them together and that's what they got, in return for those picks that the 49ers have ended up taking Trey Lance. Just putting that out there. Like, it makes total sense. It's a great move. It's just, this is Bradley Chubb's best year. Bradley Chubb is a good pass rusher. He's an overhyped pass rusher coming out of college, but he's a good pass rusher. I know he leads the league, but injury is a problem as well. Like, injury.
So do we hold injury against the player?
I think injury is a stat that counts.
Okay, just checking that for Dak. Okay.
Right, okay. Dak's a freak accident. But yeah, no. Wait.
So Dak's don't count, but everybody else's does.
No. Check it for Dak. That's fine. I agree with you on the point of Dak. However, Dak's was a tackle that, like, fucked him up. That's just what happens. And he broke his thumb on somebody else's helmet, which, I mean, fair enough.
So you don't
like, he has missed a lot of games.
Getting hurt while playing is just a freak accident, but when it happens to Dak, it's a freak accident.
I mean, like, the way that Dak got tackled, but I totally see where you're coming from. But I am more than happy to hold that against Dak, by the way. Like, I'm more than happy. I'm just saying.
I don't know, man. I think Bradley Chubb was exactly what they needed. I think he takes this defense over the top, and you're going to see how good he is away from a scrub team.
Yeah, it's just, you look at that defensive line and what they already have. I think it's one of those trades that makes sense for both sides. I'm not saying that Bradley Chubb is awful. Like, go win your game now. I like the move. Go for it. Bradley Chubb clearly has ability as a pass rusher. I don't know, when you compare it to the rest of the Dolphins defensive line, whether it's that amazing value, but the league has changed. Let's just put that forward. The league has changed. A first-round draft pick is not that big a currency anymore as people thought it would be. And the Broncos have made a good move there by getting their value out of Bradley Chubb while he was there. They were going to have to pay him big money. They need to recoup those picks that they gave up for Russell Wilson, which is fucking bad process. Whatever, giving up that much for Russell Wilson if he's coming in and playing this shit. But I think it's a good deal on both sides. I just don't see Bradley Chubb making life in Miami that different, but he's a top quality. He is a good pass rusher.
I think he changes life on that defense in Miami. And it'll
be interesting to see.
I don't think the Broncos have made a good decision since George Payton got there.
Which is weird because we were so big on George Payton.
Yeah, I think he got a lot of credit because of the shit he did with Rick Spielman. But if you look at it, Rick and under Rick Spielman, it is kind of the same kind of moves. They just didn't pan out, where Rick built through the draft, gave the Vikings the core of what they have right now, and then supplemented, went and grabbed fucking Kirk Cousins. So he tried to make Russell Wilson a better Kirk Cousins move. Does that make sense? When he got to Denver, and none of that has panned out like that. But I think a lot of that happens to do with that you hired the wrong head coach off the bat. Whereas
100%.
Mike Zimmer became the wrong head coach, but he was the right head coach at the moment, probably. But he became the wrong head coach, where I think they just hired the wrong head coach. Also, I know Nathaniel Hackett's an offensive coach, but I, as an NFL team, would no longer ever hire a defensive head coach, only because if you have a good team, you're replacing your offensive coordinator every year.
Yeah, and there's only certain teams where it makes sense, where it's kind of ingrained to their DNA to actually, that's the way that they play, and then they'll play off that. So the Patriots is the one that spreads to mind. But
I just watched the Vikings go through fucking 7 offensive coordinators in 8 years. It was ridiculous. It's like, that's the only reason I wouldn't hire a defensive coach. But I think that Denver shot themselves in the foot a lot. And I don't know how they went from how good I thought they were going to be to how bad they actually are.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is, I don't actually disagree with Peyton's process. Like, I think the process was good. I just think the player evaluation wasn't up to scratch. But it's that nobody thought that Russell Wilson was that bad of a move when it happened. So I don't know. I don't think Russell Wilson is as bad as he's played in the first few games of this season.
To be fair, the Seahawks did.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll did.
Yeah.
I mean, Pete Carroll shit on him nicely, saying that he couldn't run run the offense they want to run and keep Pete Carroll the defensive coach. So he took some shots that people were like, "You're talking about Russell Wilson," and Geno's outplaying him. So Pete saw something.
Yeah, I think he couldn't run the offense that Pete Carroll wanted him to run because of how popular he is in Seattle and how the wage budget that Russell Wilson was taking in Seattle, when Pete Carroll wants to run an offense where it's more focused on the run and the bit part players and things like that. So I think it's more based on that than Russell Wilson's actual ability. But yeah, I don't hate the Broncos move. But back to Miami versus the Lions. I don't get me wrong. I like that the Miami Dolphins are putting all of their chips to the table this year, because what they've created on that offensive side of the ball is awesome. And they're going to have to pay Tua sometime soon. I mean, they're probably going to get a decent deal for Tua's contract, considering years missed and his first and second year weren't exactly up to scratch, even though I think that that's the Dolphins' fault. But their offense looks imperious. Their defense looks shoddy, but they're so hurt. They're so injured on the back end. I'm not holding that too much against them either. And the Dolphins, the Lions probably have one of the best offenses that has ever gone 1-6. You know what I mean?
That's the most Lions thing that was ever said ever. Like, yeah, I don't even know what to say about the Lions except they're dead. And
yeah, how do you fix the Lions, Jay? What do you
fire Dan Campbell and you get the Fords to sell, but they ain't never going to sell. But when you were doing good under, why did his name just slip my mind? The old coach of the Colts, Jim Caldwell. When you're doing good under Caldwell, you fire him. And then there's just some straight ineptitude when it comes to the Ford family, and it has been since forever. And you almost hate to see the Ford family sell it because it's Detroit, it's the Ford family, right? But it's like, man, some of these owners are just okay with being awful because it still makes them money.
Yeah, I mean, the Ford family would be a nice story if they saved Detroit and still made like loads of their cars in Detroit and still made Detroit a viable city to live in and get loads of jobs there and things like that. But they don't do that either. So
nobody wants to live in Detroit, even if you brought jobs. It's the armpit.
Yeah, exactly. But like that's because Ford took their jobs away. But anyway,
and it's shitty weather. But yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, when you have the shitty weather on top, I guess. But yeah. So I still enjoy watching Detroit. I really, really enjoy watching their offense. And I feel
Dan
like
Campbell ruined them for me.
Yeah.
He did. I used to enjoy watching them. Now I fucking hate them because of him.
I still feel like, though, if you look at their defensive line, all the process, and I'm sorry, guys, that I'm using the word fucking process again, but it was so right. Like, you know, when you watch the Lions build this team over the past 2 years, you were thinking, yeah, that's right. That makes sense. That's a great move. And they just haven't panned out that way. There's something about this defensive line that is strange, where they have all the talent there to be good, and they just haven't done it. And
you never get better by trading away your best players.
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, if you're going to get rid of they've gotten rid of TJ Hawkinson, and it's not like they got a shit ton back for him either. It's not like they got loads back for TJ Hawkinson that's going to make life in Detroit different.
No, you moved up in 2 drafts. That's what you did. You moved up. You didn't even get extra picks. You just moved up.
I'm like, why the fuck did the Detroit Lions need to move up? They're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Like,
that's kind of my argument. So we give you a third in 2024 and we get your fourth. Well, hopefully our third is really late and your fourth is really early. So
yeah, it's not like once you get to those round picks as well, like obviously the chances are the way that the lottery works, they should get a better player at that spot than if they were at full. But where the Lions need help is defensive line and, well, head coach. But I still don't hate Dan Campbell like as much as you do, but it's just clearly not working. And it's his coaching staff as a whole, I feel, isn't working. And I feel he's too attached to his coaching staff to make the call to get rid of the defensive coordinator, even though by all accounts he's a great defensive coordinator, but it's just not working for him there. Like he's not doing the right job there.
And again, I want to say, he looks like the guy I'd want to have a drink with, but not coach my football team.
Yeah, and defensive ends cost a lot in draft capital, and that's what they need. And they've got the offensive line sorted. Cornerback now costs a lot in draft capital, and that's not what they've got through making that trade. If they needed just a wide receiver, they'd be fine.
I know it was the previous regime, but that's another Detroit thing to do. Let's just trade away the best corner in football and Darius Slay. Let's just do it.
Yeah. I mean, Darius Slay probably didn't want to be there, but yeah.
Well, I watched him on the pivot, and he loved Detroit until Matt Patricia said some sideways remarks to him, and then he wanted the fuck out of there because Patricia doesn't know how to talk to people.
Yeah, so Caldwell was awesome, did great things for them, and then I think the sacking of Caldwell is bad, and then you double down on it by your next coaching hires are all awful. So that just blows up the team. That the team that Caldwell created then gets blown up because guys come in there who are assholes.
And for some reason, Matt Patricia gets a pass, I think because of Belichick, but he's got a sexual assault on his history. How is he even getting? But whatever. That's previous because he's no longer their head coach and whatever. But the NFL doesn't make any sense to me on the decisions they make. And the Detroit Lions piss me off because now I'm not a Lions fan, but if you're a Lions fan and they piss me off, you got to be dying because they make you think that, we're doing the right thing. And then it's not the right thing.
They're always a dangerous team every time you play them. They're dangerous because they can put points up on you. The issue is they can't win. They just don't know how to win games.
And then I'm wondering, do you re-sign Goff or do you go get a quarterback? What the fuck do you do? Because
they'll get a quarterback. With the first overall pick,
not great, but if you get rid of him, you're even worse off now than you were this year.
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably have the first overall pick in the draft. Maybe them or the Texans. They'll have the first overall pick in the draft, so they can pick. Out. Yeah, they can all. Yeah, exactly. But that's what you do, though, isn't it? That's the correct answer. The correct answer is you take the first round pick.
They're fucked for some years unless they nail that. And even if you nail the first round quarterback, you're probably fucked for 3 years anyway. Because look, Peyton went 1-15.
Yeah, I don't know whether they're fucked for a few years. I think if they nail this next draft, they could still be really good. But to nail every single pick, they need to nail every single pick to fix their defense. And that won't happen.
Defense since the 80s.
Yeah, that will not happen. There is no way that you will nail every single pick. Unless you're the Seahawks this year, but they haven't had a good draft. They've basically put all of their good draft picks into this year. So if you want to do that, then that's fine as well.
Let's talk about a game where P.J. Walker threw the most perfect pass he will ever throw in his whole career. But if you watch it, DJ on the play slows down, does not think he's getting the ball. Yeah. The ball's in the air, and he goes, "Oh, shit," and then flies underneath it, which was great. But then I 100% blame him for the loss.
Yeah, I mean, your kicker should be kicking things from 48 points, but I think we've just been desensitized to that over the years. Like, if you think back, a 48-yard kick is not a gimme. Why the fuck make it a 48-yard kick so you can take your helmet off?
And as a team who's had a lot of kicking problems in history of their team over the last few years, nothing is ever a gimme, so you better put him in the best position possible.
Yeah, and it's I understand why people are pissed. Like, it's a bit of an unfair rule. Like, you take your helmet off in celebration, you get a huge penalty. But fucking come on, man. Like, you're a professional. Know the rules.
And it's been like that for years now.
Yeah, exactly. Act like you've done it before. Do you know what's much fucking harder than doing a crazy celebration? Just like do it all the fucking time. Like it's not an issue. Like,
Yeah,
that's a
I don't
much
like the
harder.
Barry Sanders approach either, though.
Yeah. I just think it's so much colder just like walking off, like it happens to you all the time. But the Panthers and the Falcons might actually be sneaky good. No, the Panthers are shit, but the Falcons might actually be sneaky good if it's their if their defense can bend but don't break. So I don't trust the Lions defense bends and breaks. So that's crap, right? But the Falcons defense, I think, has the option to bend but don't break, which when you have an offense like they have, which has big playability, can take time off the clock, they can dice you up in a couple of different ways. A bend but don't break approach works really well. So if they start to play more passive defense, I believe they have some of the players to be able to do that. There's no fucking way on the last play of the game DJ Moore should be getting over the top of you. You should be sat on the goal line. What are you doing playing any press or anything like that? It makes no sense to me.
You should have receivers in the game at that point too, instead of linebackers. But like
yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to a game where the celebration, if it was taken out of the game, would have been a way less epic game, because not only did the Vikings win that game, but Patrick Peterson had the best celebration of the whole year when he sat down, put on the headphones, and played the video game just to make fun of Kyler Murray.
That's so fucking cold. Right. So that is worse than what DJ Moore did.
But that's not against the rules, and
yeah, exactly.
Taking the helmet off.
Exactly. So in terms of unsportsmanlike conduct, if that's what they want to fucking call or whatever, that's so much worse. But it adds so much to the game. Let the guys celebrate like that. Let them have a bit of personality on the field. Who gives a fuck? Like,
hey, and I know Pat kept going, just another game, just another game. When you watch that game, it was not just another game to him. Patrick Peterson doesn't talk a ton of shit while he's playing. Even over his whole career, he did not shut up from the first snap to the end of the game. And when Harrison Smith picked up that ball and he was in the middle of the field celebrating, well, Harrison Smith is still running on the field with the ball. Hasn't even been tackled. You could tell Pat P was amped for that game. But I love that celebration. I don't know what really happened with Kyler. I know they put that bad thing in his contract. I don't know what kind of dude he is in the locker room, but that was a perfect. Yeah, and a team you got an issue with.
Yeah, that might be the best coverage. Some of those plays that Pat Peterson makes might be the best he's played since becoming a Viking.
If you watch the play where he gets the pass interference in the fourth quarter, he literally read the route and ran the route for the receiver. He just got there before the receiver.
Yeah, definitely. That's experience. That's knowing routes. That's watching film.
I watched Slay do that kind of stuff. That's the guys at the top of the league. You watch them run the route for the receiver.
Yeah, he's like Patrick Peterson.
10 years, 12 years.
He's now strung 2 games in a row where he's played really well. And like he's played, like I'm not saying that he's played shit since
I know what you're saying.
But like he's stood out on the screen where he's played 2 games in a row now where he's played really well. And that's a big deal for the Vikings going down the stretch. I think you might want to talk about the TJ Hawkinson trade.
Well, I've talked about that thing till it was dead already. But TJ Hawkinson's going to come in, open up the center of the field, give another weapon. He's 6'4". He's a red zone monster. I know people on the internet, and it's all butthurt Lions fans who are like, he's not as good as everybody thinks. Dude, he's in the George Kittle mold. I am not saying he's George Kittle. He's in the mold. He blocks. He catches. He can play H-back. He can, go out as a wide receiver. He does all the things. So I love Kelsey. Kelsey is the best tight end in football. Hawkinson blocks better than Kelsey. You know what I mean? And Kelsey's a willing blocker. So there's things. What do you want to do? So if you watch those tight end screens where he's blocking and then swings off, or he's blocking for the running back 10 yards downfield. I think those things are just as important in this offense as his catching ability. But he's a big body down the middle of the field that you can't cover with a linebacker.
Yeah, and he's that freaky body type player as well, which becomes important in today's NFL. Like, he's a matchup nightmare for anybody wanting to take him on. He's faster than the linebackers. He's a lot bigger than the cornerbacks that are going to be covering him. And then when you factor in that he's in an offense with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins, who's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in football.
I like you today.
Yeah, I'm really feeling it today. I'm feeling good. So when you add that, I know you've been catching some hate from a podcast that I particularly enjoy from PFF. So I'm backing you up on this one.
Well,
I'm feeling
one guy, and PFF is the same people who had Patrick Peterson until last week rated like the 64 best corner in the league.
Maybe they just hate the Vikings.
And I don't care what you think about like PFF. There's no way you look at football and go, Patrick Peterson's not even in the top 64 corners. And
I think
they bad football play. I think the Lions would take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think the way that PFF grades, I think they do. They mention it on the podcast. Actually, they mention it directly about Patrick Peterson, where they're like, Patrick Peterson is better than the 64th cornerback in football, but the way that we grade, he's not. But sometimes grades lie. Sometimes that big playability, sometimes grades lie. But it needs to come into a discussion. That grade, I think that's where they're looking at with it. The TJ Hawkinson pick, I just don't get what they're saying about that. I don't understand it.
I did more research, and Sam Munson is pretty much the troll of PFF.
Oh yeah. He lives and dies by the PFF grades and enjoys doing it. And he'll stand up for the PFF grades a lot of the time.
Probably because PFF made his career look better than it really was.
Well, yeah, but you know, I still enjoy them. I still enjoy them. I like their content, but I think they're just off on the TJ Hawkinson pick. I think he makes your team a lot better. I think this is it. What you've got to do is you've got to take in the situation of how the pick was made. So the situation is, this might be the Vikings' best chance to getting to at least an NFC championship game for a while, because the NFC is weak this year. They're not weak, it's open. The NFC is open this year. So take a guy that makes TJ Hawkinson makes you guys instantly better. He makes you better than you were yesterday, or whenever you picked him up, day before yesterday.
All right. Well, let's talk about a game where two of Maddie's favorite players in the whole world, and I'll list them in order, Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, played each other. His face is epic. All right, no. The Bears-Cowboys game, which for as many points as there was, that was just a fucking paint-drying game to watch for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was never a game. Never.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Do you know no team has put up 49 points this season? Just saying. Just putting that out there. For a really shitty quarterback, putting up 49 points is a pretty big deal.
I was shocked you guys let fucking a shitty quarterback put up 29.
Yeah. I was also about to bring up, also, no other quarterback has scored 29 points on the Dallas Cowboys defense this year. But
yeah, I think that was Justin Fields would be great if he could throw.
Yeah, I think the way that people are judging this game, and I haven't gone on and made the Cowboys news about it yet. I think I'm gonna do it tonight. But the reason that the Cowboys Nation, you need to fucking calm down, right? So what they're doing is they're saying that why the fuck are we giving up 29 points to the Bears? They're such a shit, and we should be putting up 49 points. It's like, no, the Bears have a sneaky good defense, so 49 points is a big deal, and the Bears have a really good run game. Their run game is good and it is solid, but the reason that we let them run for that many yards is they're never going to win the game if they're just running it like that. This season, if you rush for 200 yards, the teams that have rushed for 200 yards have only been winning 60% of the games. If you go back and look through NFL history, that is wild. And that is because some teams that have shitty offenses have just said, do you know what? To make us look good, to get good on the stat sheet, let's just run the ball. And other teams let you because you're never going to win the game once you go 21-7 down, you're not going to win the game if you're not throwing the football. And don't get me wrong, Justin Fields' throwing game is
Well, you
poor.
could tell the Bears don't trust him. That
Yeah,
halftime, that right before half, proved that they
yeah.
don't trust him.
His throwing game this season is poor. Don't get me wrong. He makes some incredible throws. It's the easy shit that he gets wrong. So I'm willing to come off his like I'm not as on as Justin Fields as you make me seem, but I will defend him in the way that he makes plays. The Bears are better with him than they were 2 seasons ago.
I'd rather have Nick Foles, but with the Bears defense too. Okay, so all their best players were either traded or praying they were going to get traded in 4 days
Yeah,
in that game.
yeah.
Everybody
I mean,
in that Bears organization was praying they got traded, and it didn't come for but two guys. But
yeah, I still think 49 points is a big deal. Like 49 points is a lot of points to
yeah,
put
no,
up on
I'm just saying.
PCP.
Like all I was saying was, I think the Bears had checked out, but it has nothing. The 49 points is still 49 points in an NFL
Yeah,
game.
I think the Bears beat the New England Patriots, and I think it's just going to it might just keep on going down from there. But I don't hate I don't hate. I like that their offense has got an identity. Their identity just won't win them games, and their defensive coach won't win them games in the NFL, unfortunately, or enough games to be good, unfortunately for them. But a couple of steps in the right direction every now and again is good. So, yeah, the Bears are a weird evaluation right now. The Cowboys are an even weirder evaluation right now because Dak's only been back for 2 games, played the 32nd worst defense in football. And I admit he didn't look great, but I think that was a growing game. Now he's just put 49 points up. Let's see what he does this week against slightly sterner opposition.
So,
sorry. Shout out to Tony Pollard. You're awesome. You should be our starter, but that doesn't make Zeke any less important.
it's like being a parent and being like, I love you both, but I love you a little more.
Yeah, it's like Tony Pollard gives us big playability. Zeke on 3rd and 1 is my guy. Zeke will get paid less next year.
So what about them that Bills-Packer game where the Packers look like they started to find some offense in the second half? And I'm not saying because of the Bills' ferocious defense. That's not it. It just seemed like the receivers, for some reason, started to click with some guys you didn't necessarily think would click. It's got to be a step in the right direction, but that game wasn't even as close as the score says it was because the Bills let off the throttle in the whole second half.
Yeah, it's another one of those games where they've just run the ball to get something going and make themselves look good, but they're never going to win the game that way.
As I think, running back.
Yeah.
I mean, Moss, that was an upgrade.
Sorry, no, I meant the Packers running the ball because, so the Packers were running that ball, even though that wasn't going to win them the game, and they were doing their short passing schemes, even though that's not going to win them the game. And don't get me wrong, that might be better over the long term because it gets something going and it shows them the way that they need to be. But if the Packers organization hadn't already realized that that was the way they needed to be and they needed that game, I worry for them really bad. But hopefully for them, not hopefully for either of us, they'll lean on Aaron Jones more. What worried me about the Bills is the Bills have never won anything, and they're acting like this season they're already automatically going to the AFC Championship game is the only thing that worries me. I mean, when you start to blow a team out 27 to, 27-7 by nothing, then you can let your foot off the throttle a little bit, but against a better team, which says maybe more about the Packers than it does about the Bills, but against a better team, they need to make sure that they keep their foot on the pedal.
No, I agree with you because the way I watch the Bills, I feel like they already won the Super Bowl. It just hasn't happened yet. And you hope as the Bills coaching staff and the players that you get hit in the mouth in the regular season and brought like, hey, instead of in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Because sooner or later, overconfidence, it's not the problem with your confidence. Overconfidence makes you sleep on your laurels. It makes you not try as hard, not pay as hard as attention or pay much attention in beatings. practices hard on the field. So you hope if that does creep in for the Bills, they get smacked in the mouth in the regular season, brought back to, reality, like, oh, we really got to grind again. Because I'm with you. Sometimes it feels like they're celebrating like this season's already conclusion.
Yeah, swag is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, feeling like they walk into every stadium they go in and be like, yeah, let's fucking go. We're going to win this game. But what they need to do is either get punched in the mouth in a really close game, which will help them out, or they need to prove that they can just step on the pedal all the time. Like, because what you don't want to do is feel like you can just turn it on when you want to when you get to the playoffs. So hopefully
that blow up in the Chiefs' face.
Yeah, definitely. So look, they're the best team in the AFC right now.
They're the best team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, they're the best. Which, if you're the best team in the AFC right now, that makes you the best team in the NFL. But they're the best team in the NFL right now. The Chiefs are a kind of close second, but
I take the Bills have gone over the Chiefs. But okay,
do you reckon? All right, okay.
I don't think there's a wrong answer though.
Yeah. The Bills have a really great defense this year for the first time in ages, so they know they can lie back down on that. I'm not too worried about it. I know Sean McDermott's probably got control of it. I just think it's something to watch out for.
Yeah, for me right now, I think it's the Bills, Chiefs, and Eagles, in whatever order you want to put them in. And then
I think it's the Bills, and then it's the Chiefs and Eagles.
And then I think it's the Vikings, Cowboys, and some other teams that you're there, but are you there? And you got to prove it. You got to prove it.
Let's find out.
Yeah, that kind of thing. You got talent. You guys, both teams are playing well. Are you on the level? Are the Cowboys or the Vikings on the level of these teams? Well, you know what? We'll find out when it comes to playoff time, won't we?
Yeah. Did you see Nick Wright, who I actually like I actually quite like Nick Wright.
I liked him better when he was bald. And it has nothing to do with the hair. It seems like his takes have gotten more crazy with his hair. But I like it.
Well, this take will drive you fucking insane. So, he does his tiers. He had the Cowboys above the Eagles. And he said the Eagles are undefeated and need to prove it. So I think he might have had the Vikings and the Cowboys above the Eagles and saying, I know these teams can do it in the tough times. And the Cowboys have been doing it with a backup quarterback. And then he had the Eagles in a thing below saying undefeated, but need to prove it. And it's like the Eagles aren't this.
They're like, they've only played the 12th hardest schedule. Well, they won beat everybody you put in front of them. So what do you want?
Yeah, and it's not like they're in control. They're in control of every game. It's not like the Steelers where they went 11-0. I think people have been scarred by the Steelers going 11-0 and then just losing every game from then on.
But I think the Eagles are so good that they could come out tonight, get beat by 21, and it still wouldn't change my opinion of them because they would have just had an awful un-Eagles-like game at this point.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, people don't want to give the Eagles credit for some reason, maybe because they're a very hated team across the league, unless you're an Eagles fan. But it kills me to say it too, but they're fucking good.
They're great. They are the most in control team in the league. Like, they know. I feel like they go onto the field and know exactly what the game plan is. They know exactly what they're going to do, and they know exactly how they're going to win. The Chiefs and Bills are the most talented teams. They can blow you up, dice you up any which fucking way. But the Eagles come out and they're like, we know exactly what weaknesses we're going to exploit in the opposing team, and we know exactly what strengths we're going to play with.
So before we talk about the Bucs and Tom Brady, how about them Browns?
Yeah. I feel weird about what happened. The Bengals. Do you know what I think happened? The Bengals offensive line forgot how to play again. They were slowly improving, and a guy called Myles Garrett comes along and just fucks him up. Like,
I think Jamar Chase proved that team ain't shit without him.
Yeah, I think Jamar Chase. It's weird to say. Do you remember when we were debating whether they should take Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase? And we were saying you're not going to be able to throw to Jamar Chase if you don't have an offensive line with somebody like Penei Sewell. Well, it fucking turns out that Jamar Chase runs such amazing routes so quickly that Joe Burrow can get the hand out to him before his offensive line crumbles. So, but it turns out that Jamar Chase proved that, no, you don't need a decent offensive line. I don't get what the fuck is wrong with the Bengals offensive line, though. Like, I just look at it and like, why is it shit? I just look at it and just go, why are you bad? It should be good, but no. So, and the Browns, if you have an awful O-line going against the Browns, you're gonna get found out, and that's what happened. And then they have a great run game. And
Amari Cooper,
you must have been shitting it when he threw that interception.
Oh, I already thought I lost the fantasy game.
Yeah, you must have been
because I was down by 13, and then I'm like, oh great, now I'm down by 15. Thanks, dickhead.
Yeah, like I watched him throw it, and I was like, I'm not even gonna message Jay right now. Like I just went like I'm just not even gonna bother.
You could have at least got a completion and picked me up some yardage or something, but no, you got a -2 on me right off the bat. Thanks.
Just fucking throw it out of bounds. That's why you don't know why. That's the difference right there between why.
You know why I won, right? Because Dustin has the worst luck in fantasy football. That's why.
Yeah, that one down the field play with that all So what's been happening in Cowboys group chats right now, and it really fucking pisses me off, is that everybody's just clipping that Amari Cooper down the field amazing catch that he makes. It's just like, why the fuck did we give him up? Why the fuck did we give him up? We didn't have a choice. He didn't want to be there. he didn't want to be there. That's the reason that we gave him up. That's why. Why are we going for Brandon Cooks when we could have just kept Amari Cooper? Amari didn't want to be there, man. Like, get toxic people out of the changing room.
So, are the Bucs and Tom Brady dead?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, they're in the worst division in football. So, actually...
Yeah, I still think they're going to win that division and go to the playoffs.
It depends what you define as dead. Like, because I just can't see them... And this... Oh, fuck. I'm saying this about Tom Brady, and now he's going to make me look like an ass. But I can't see them beating any half-decent teams. Like, any team with a decent pass rush is gonna fuck them up. Like, just the way that they look.
Once Tom's mind's right, people are in trouble, and you better not let him in the playoffs because he'll be a hard out.
Yeah, I know.
And
I feel bad of what I've just said.
You're going to regret keeping that dude on your bench for Justin Fields. That's all I'm going to say.
No, not this week. He'll be back next week. This week, I'm right. Tom Brady is playing against the Los Angeles Rams this week.
I cannot wait to post those stats just blatantly across the screen next week.
Please fucking do, man. Like, even if I fuck it up, right? Because this is my so this is my week where everybody's on a bye. So I'm making a move. I'm making a big decision. And if it goes wrong, I'm okay with it going wrong this week. If I fuck it up next week, I'll be pissed. But this week, I'm like, okay, let's see what happens.
All right, Maddie. I got a question. It's a fun one we're going to get to before we end this show. Shout out, happy birthday to my sister. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday to Maddie. Make sure you go wish him a happy birthday. He loves that shit.
Yeah, I'm old as fuck.
And so my question was to Maddie, best uniform in the NFL.
Okay. Unpopular opinion. But you ready? Are you ready for this? The Los Angeles Chargers have the best uniform in the NFL.
Maybe they're old ones. That new one's weird, but okay. They look like it's a ram, like whatever. Yeah.
I love, oh man. This might be the campus that our podcast ever got. I'm really happy about it. So I love the teal. Like, I just think it makes them look so different to every other team. I think it, like when they're on the field, I know it's the LA Chargers. Like sometimes, if it wasn't for the massive star on the Cowboys helmets, I'd be like, oh, that could be the Colts. Like when I'm looking for Cowboys gear in vintage shops, I'm like, oh, I always keep on picking up Peyton Manning jerseys by accident because they're the same color. There's something about the way that the Chargers uniform sticks out. The yellow trousers, not 100% sold on, but I just enjoy them. I think it makes a lot of sense in South Cal as well. Like I think it just like brings something out in Southern California.
So for me, I think the best uniform is in the NFC North, and it's the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was on for the Detroit Lions too. Do you know what? I love the Vikings uniform as well. Like it's
I don't
different
mind them
to
at all, but I'm just
everybody
saying, if we're going to
else's.
be honest, I think the Lions are the best. And the reason this whole conversation started is because Shug sent me a picture of the Tennessee Titans alternative helmets, and I don't like them.
No.
And but I don't really love the Tennessee uniform either. So I was like, made me think, what is my favorite? Like, what do I think is the best uniform? And that's when I text you that. For me though, it's the original Lions, and I love that just silver helmet with the blue jersey, the silver pants, uniform too. I really like the Lions uniform. I think it's the best in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, guys, if you're watching this later on, then feel free to comment your favorite uniforms or whatever. Throw hate at the Chargers uniform, which everybody seems to do. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready to defend my sweetheart team for their uniforms, not for their play this season, their uniforms. But yeah. And
if you know who
what,
Miles Simons is from Pro Football Talk,
yes.
so he says the other day on Pro Football Talk, he says the Bears orange helmet is the worst helmet in the NFL. So he's wearing this vest. So I tweet him, you should not be talking about the Bears being the worst uniform in the NFL while wearing that awful vest. He tweets me back, Malfoy's dad, with a caption that says, vest slander, how dare you?
He's I'm not big on his takes, but he seems like an okay guy, you know.
Yeah,
what
I'm
about
not a
the
fan of his
worst?
takes, but I also don't just go on Twitter and shit on people for no reason either. I was being funny, you know. So yeah.
What about the worst uniform in the NFL?
And it's not just because of my hate of them, it's that my hate of color green. It's the Packers, the green and yellow together. And it might be because I live here. Up until a couple years ago, when they had to do it because the fire department couldn't find the fire hydrants, they used to be painted green and gold here.
Right. Okay.
Everything is green and gold, and I don't like the color green, so that might be why that I live in Green Bay and everything is green and gold.
Yeah, I was debating saying the Eagles here, but there's a really good Disney Plus documentary called Welcome to Wrexham, everybody. Just letting you know. You should watch it. It gives you a really good inside look into how the promotion and relegation system works in football over here, and how and it gives you a really good look into Wales, which is my home country. So it's
I gotta say the
good.
Bills are pretty fucking awful too.
The Bills uniform. Yeah, it's not the best. But I was going to say the Eagles, but Rob McElhenney, basically the documentary is about Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds who buy a Welsh football team, and Rob McElhenney makes their away kit Eagles green. And I really like it as a football kit, like European football. I don't like it as an NFL kit, but I think that might just be my height of the Eagles. The worst uniform in the NFL is the Cleveland Browns.
I like the Browns uniform.
That's mental. The Cleveland Browns is so.
And I need to revamp mine because I thought about it and you caught me off guard. The absolute worst uniform in the NFL is the Seahawks.
I don't mind the Oh yeah, the lime green.
I hate that uniform, but
yeah,
really, you don't like the Browns. I like the Browns uniform.
No.
I like Browns gear too. I'm just not a Browns fan, so I don't buy a Browns hoodie and shit, but I think it's pretty dope when I see it in the stores.
Yeah, it's just like the brown shirt with the then orange helmet. Like, I don't like the orange helmets either. Like, I'm not big on the Bears helmet, but it looks okay on the Bears. But like with the brown and then it just looks shit. I like teams to stand out, I guess. But you're right. I do like the hoodies. Like, I do enjoy the hoodies that they wear, but the actual uniform. Do you know what's weird? NFL uniforms in general. Like, I remember when I first started watching the NFL and seeing the trousers that they wear just fucking blew my mind. Like, wear shorts. That's what everybody else wears. It makes sense now. Like, I enjoy it now, but it's just funny.
Yeah, you got me thinking because the Colts got pretty awful fucking uniforms too.
Do you know what? There might be more horrible uniforms in the NFL than good ones.
Yeah, I don't hate the Texans, but they're not very appealing either.
Yeah, I love the Cowboys blue and white. The blue and the white together, where it's the white.
I wish the Vikings would wear the black alternative ones that you can buy in the stores, but they've never worn. I don't know if you see them, but they're black with the yellow
They
with
look
the purple
sick.
outline.
Yeah,
Like,
all blacked out.
wear that one time. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they do look good. They do look good.
Or
I
some
like
even
I
some
like
all
both of our
yellow
teams.
or
Here.
something. Why is it always just got to be white and purple? Why can't we like get like? I
Oh,
know they're trying to be like we're trying to stick to like close to the tradition, but like we're past that. Like fans want to see new shit.
yeah. They also like to see old shit. So like the throwback uniforms,
Right.
they're cool. When they bring the throwback uniforms out, they're cool.
But not for the
Unless the
Vikings because
Steelers,
they're so fucking close.
yeah, or unless the Steelers wear that fucking
Oh,
yellow and
look. So
black striped one.
I like the Acme Packers uniform, the blue and yellow one, until they put the brown helmets on, and it's like, bro, I get you're trying to make it look like it's the old leather helmet. Nobody
Yeah.
buys it. It's just put a blue and yellow Acme Packer helmet on too, and that uniform would be so much better.
Do you know what? I think actually what might be one of the worst uniforms in the NFL, the Washington Commanders uniform.
Yeah.
That might be it.
It's that fucking maroon or whatever you want to call that color.
Yeah.
But it got a lot better when they took the redskin off or whatever and then put the numbers on.
Yeah, put the numbers on was sick. I quite like the W. Like I don't hate the W either, but in bright yellow on that disgusting maroon that they've got it on. And also, hey, Dan Snyder probably decided what uniform they were going to wear.
Okay,
So
I'm
let's hate that.
But that maroon color makes the old name even more racist, and I never even thought about it that way.
Shit. Yeah, maybe it does.
Now.
Oh shit. Yep. All right. Okay, guys.
Yeah. Well, we're going to move on from the Commanders.
You've heard it here first. The Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders is the worst uniform in football. Done.
It just dawned on me
Finish.
too. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not even going to just keep going because if I don't pre-think things out, my mouth gets me in trouble.
Yeah. So you hear it here first. Scummiest team, scummiest uniform. Done. Finished.
So do you think Dan? So before we get out of here,
taking us.
So Dan Snyder gets a hold of a firm to start getting the value of his team, which is what you do when you're getting ready to sell your team.
Yeah.
But there was a point made, maybe it's going to be a big fuck you to the league. And because he owns 100%, he's just going to sell off like 10% to get some money.
Yeah, I can see him doing that. I just don't trust him to do the right thing without being forced to do the right thing ever. So
I agree.
The only way that you're going to get Dan Snyder fully away from that football team is forcing him to sell it, which they can do. They can do that. So yeah, they have to force him to do it. He's not a decent enough human to not do it. So yeah.
No, and they let everything go until they found out he was stealing money, and then it was the end of the world. But that's the world we live in.
Yeah, and it's now that they've got dirt, that now that they know he's got dirt on them, I think they may actually be more pressed to get him out of the league. I think they may try and buy him out of the league that way, but to fucking buy somebody out of $1 billion football team is pretty intense.
Phil Knight, get in there, buddy. Get in there. I think you'd be a great owner of an NFL team.
I want Jeff Bezos. I think that'd be so funny. I just enjoy seeing that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want him for my football team, but considering they're in my division, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, I think he'd be a good owner because he'd get out of the fucking way and he'd give them all the money they need to do what they need to do. I think personally, Phil Knight, though, being that he's with Nike and he knows sports and I think he'd be a great owner. I know everybody on his team would probably end up from Oregon because that's his school. But
yeah, I just think, imagine if Jeff Bezos came in and made an NFL stadium, because that's the first thing you've got to do. Your first port of call, if you're Washington Commanders' new owner, is build a new stadium. That's the first thing you have to do, which is what might put a lot of people off. But I just think maybe Jeff Bezos will make it in make it look like a cardboard box. That'd be fun. But anyway.
And if they do it within the next 2 years, before you could start building your stadium, you could move into RFD Stadium before they tear it down. So you're not in the shit box that you're in right now, and fans could actually get to games and not have toilets back up on them and all the other stuff that goes on.
Or like you don't even need to. So they're gonna have so much space in the stadium or something like that. You don't even need to buy a ticket to the ground. You just show up, scan your Amazon Prime account, and it immediately comes out of your bank. Like, do you have like Amazon Fresh? Of those shops, they'll be in the States, maybe not in Wisconsin, but it's where you go in the shop, you scan your Amazon Prime, like your phone, and then you just put stuff in your trolley, your, what do you guys call them?
Carts.
Shopping cart. Yeah. You put them in your shopping cart, you scan them on your Amazon Prime account, and then you just leave the shop. Like, you don't have to pay anything, and it just comes out of your account later.
That doesn't make sense to me because I'd rather just go online and have you drop it off at my door for free.
Oh yeah, I know, but it's just fun though, isn't it?
Hey,
I
can't
remember seeing one in London.
The crazy shit Bezos does next year with the Black Friday game.
Yeah.
Hey, it's gonna be insanity. You're gonna be able to buy shit right off the TV in the middle of the game.
He could like fucking stock market it. So like at certain points of the game, so like running across is like the prices of things, and then all of a sudden the price will crash on one thing, but the more people buy it, it raises the price up, and then the less people buy other things. We do that with pints on Black Friday in the in the UK. So if you go to your university bars and you may pay £2 for a pint and then the same pint may cost £5 later in the night because loads of people have been buying that pint. And you can keep track of like your favorite pints on the big market boards, and you buy low of your favorite pints.
I'm a British snob. I only drink Guinness for the most part.
You drink? Oh man, get yourself over to Ireland. It actually tastes different, which is like fucking weird thing to say.
I don't like thick beer though, so if it gets any thicker in Ireland, I don't want it. It's a thin, dark beer here.
It might do, to be fair, but.
Yeah.
Anyway, just come on.
I'm not a big drinker though, so I'm very picky. If I'm going to drink, there's only certain things I'll drink.
I'm not that picky. I'm not a big drinker anymore, but I'm not that picky either. So yeah. But honestly, those fucking stock market things were so fun, so good.
Oh, I'm sure. We drank 50-cent pitchers in college, and we didn't care what kind it was, and it was always the beer.
I just love the idea of going up to the bar and just buying low. Like, it's so funny. Like. Yeah, like some beers, like just that people hate. Were
give
like
me a Milwaukee's Best, which you probably don't even know what it is, but it's one of the worst beers here. So
yeah, it's like Newcastle Brown Ale. Doesn't that sound grim anyway? But like Newcastle Brown Ale, you go buy that, and it was just like cost fucking nothing, and it was great. It was awesome.
All right,
we've really gone off tangent.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back for Sunday's pregame show where we'll take you through all the games. And we'll have Shug's Pick 5 at the end of the show, so make sure you stick around for that. And anything else before we get out of here, Maddie?
Nope, that's it from me.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.